What is up, YouTube? How's it going? It is Xris Beltran here, and you guys are listening to the 27th episode of the Xris Beltran podcast.
Did you make this beat up on your own?
You're not supposed to talk during the intro. Son of a bitch!
You didn't say that.
Woo! Guess what? We're doing something new because it's different. It's different. I got my cousin Guy here.
Hello.
And
I'm still getting used to listening to my voice through the microphone. It's a pretty interesting experience when you haven't gone through it.
he's a real novice. I'm training him. He's my Padawan of podcast.
I wouldn't say that.
Podcastawan, you know. So this is it. Welcome to the podcast world. You're going to quickly realize that nobody gives a shit about your opinions.
That's great. I mean, it goes both ways, so I feel like it's on neutral ground.
Unless you say something that pisses people off, then people really care about your opinions.
I mean, if this is going, if it's going to go on the internet, then definitely we'll have opinions. But luckily, that's not the case.
So, yeah, tell us about yourself though. What's your favorite way to die?
Well, heart disease is the most common way, so I don't want to be like everyone else.
Dude, I was okay. The reason why I asked that though is because I was thinking about it last night. I was thinking like, dude, what's the worst way to die? What's the worst way?
Well, I mean, there's like a painful experience and then there's a slow experience. Like, do you want to die in excruciating pain, or do you want to like lose your soul while you're still functioning?
Well, cause see, I think it's pain. I think it all comes down to not pain, but excruciating anxiety, because you know that like when you're like really hurt, when you're really hurt, you don't feel pain. You just feel intense anxiety.
Would you rather die of fire or acid?
That's a good one, but I have thought of this a long time. I would hate to die by fire. Fire's the worst. I would rather be stabbed a bunch of times because when you're in fire, like, have you seen that one Saw movie? I don't know which one it is, but like that lady is like, I think it's a lady or a dude, and they're just cooking, and they're like, ah, and like they're like skins melting off of their bodies and shit. Dude, that's gotta be the worst. But like, see, that's why I think that's the worst, is because you're going through so much anxiety. You go through so much anxiety of like burning alive, where you're like, oh my fucking God, there's no way you can come back from this. You know, like when you're swimming, when you're drowning, you're like, and like it's for a little bit. Fire, it may take a while.
If I was somehow just transported 50 feet below the ocean and I just opened my eyes and I could somehow I didn't, like, my ears and eyes didn't pop of the pressure instantly, but like if I just realized I was underwater like that and I could just see a shadow, like, you know, you can't even see what it is. It could just be a big ass tuna or something.
Mm-hmm. Dude,
I mean, there's a lot of different ways of suffering. Like, and like I was saying earlier, like, what if like you have that disease where all of your tissue starts turning into bone?
What the fuck kind of what?
It's a very rare disease, but like over time, I mean, these poor people like eventually are like stuck in positions in in postures, because at some point their joints, their tendons have your body usually goes through, like, I think it's like 7 years every cell has been replaced by then.
I think
the bone is the most that takes time, but this disease is when that cell is repairing itself, it's just a bone cell. So eventually these people, if you see their skeleton, like, there's been some people donated their body to science, it just looks like they almost have a shell developing in their rib cage.
Yeah. That's so weird.
And there's some of their joints are just like, there's like people that they have to be like this their whole time. They have to learn to figure out at some point, what position do I want to like settle with?
Listen, if I'm 50 years old and that happens to me, it
happens to people that are younger.
Oh, dude, see, that's the problem is like I couldn't be like 20-something years old and be like, well, I can't have head for the rest of my life.
I mean,
that fucking sucks.
That type of concept is completely out of the window. You're not even complaining about that at that point. I mean, unless you're a deviant.
Like, I can't wipe my ass, dude. Once you lose the ability to wipe your ass, you're done. You're miserable. I feel like that's where your like situational depression kicks in hardcore, and you are just done.
So would you rather go out that way or fire?
I don't know. Oh, have you ever heard of there was this old way of torturing people way back then where like they wouldn't crucify you, but they tie you down and then like they lather like honey all over your naked body.
Yeah, and they just like
and then
bugs
they throw you out
shit.
to the and then they just
birds and bugs just eat you out.
And but like not only that, but like they'll pull you back in tomorrow, like the next day. And then they'll put more honey on your body and throw you the fuck back out just to keep experiencing it. And I heard that there was something up with honey because honey,
attracts things.
Honey kicks ass. Honey kicks ass. And what it does is it like protects your organs from getting like you're not going to die from like disease as quickly from having your insides exposed because honey has like some restoration property to it that like prevents like from it being you being contaminated from those bugs.
I mean, I wouldn't argue that is real or not. I just never heard of it, but I know like people. I mean, honey has unique properties. It doesn't go bad. You could find it in Egyptian tombs that have been around since something BC and just reheat it.
That's so great. I wonder if there's like a planet full of honey.
That means there would be a planet full of nectar spreading. It doesn't have to necessarily be bees.
What if bees though fucked the planet? You know how bees are essential to this planet? What if on another planet bees just did too much work and they had so much honey, didn't know what to do with it, and then they all drowned in the honey, but the honey never like crystallize. Maybe it did crystallize, but
I don't think it had to be made by bees. It had to be from some weird space fucking creature because bees already on Earth are like working on a biological limit. Like they're the hardest working animal on Earth. I remember watching back in the day. I don't know if it's true anymore, but remember watching on Animal Planet when it used to be badass.
Oh yeah, of course.
Animal Planet's Most Extreme.
Yes, I love that show. That was a great show.
Animals, they're like the beaver or the ant,
or
whatever. Number one was a bee, and the way how they were explaining it was like these fuckers within their little lifespan, which I don't know how long it is, but I'm pretty sure you and I have already lived like through 15, 17 generations.
Yeah.
In their lifespan, they travel within their little biome enough times to circle the Earth twice over.
Fuck, dude. That's crazy.
Like, and they don't take a day off. They're just constantly clocking
that's
in,
what they
clocking
do.
out.
Yeah. Don't ants do the same thing though too?
Yeah.
Do bees sleep?
I don't know what bugs do.
I kind of want to look that up actually. Do bees sleep?
You should just put bugs in general.
Similar to the circadian rhythm, honeybees sleep between 5 to 8 hours a day, and in the case of forager bees, this occurs in day-night cycles, with more rest at night when darkness prevents their excretions for pollen and nectar.
I don't know why. I always thought bugs just didn't sleep. They're just constantly... I don't know why.
What? Who doesn't sleep?
Certain fish.
Jellyfish?
Dolphins, they only sleep with half their brain at a time.
How do you...
Just apparently half of their brain goes active or inactive.
They just swim sideways?
I guess it's just to keep, because you know, if you think about it, if you're in the ocean, you're like a shark or a dolphin. You're built to be constantly moving. What happens if you just?
I think though that, well, because like I heard something about whales.
Have you seen how whales sleep? Yeah.
Yeah, whales sleep. Don't they, like, one of them sleeps at a time or something like that?
No, there's like a whole pod. If you look up a picture, there's a weird. It's like part beautiful, part haunting. It's just like an entire pod of whales just sleeping vertically, just in the ocean.
That's fucking weird, dude. Just imagine if you were scuba diving and you just see like 12 whales just fucking floating.
When I was a kid, I always thought, because I knew whales only ate plankton, like, oh, it would be cool to swim amongst them. They're friendly. They're whatever. The older I get, the more I'm like, this is the most scariest thing to be like around, just because of how big it is.
I would rather be in a cage with a lion than swim up to a humpback whale.
I don't know about that. Maybe maybe a sperm whale, because sperm whales, they have teeth. I don't know. They actually eat things.
Dude, did you hear about that one guy that got swallowed by a fucking whale?
Yeah, and he survived.
And he fucking survived.
That's literally some biblical shit.
Dude, that is, and he was explaining to like the news crew too. He was like, yeah, I was on that tongue and that tongue was moving and I was fighting the tongue. Just like
that whale must have been like, this is not fucking krill.
This is well, because also like I heard that their throat is about the size of like a golf ball. Like, despite how big they are,
I guess because they just don't breathe. Yeah, they just breathe through their blowhole instead. I guess.
And so, how big is their blowhole? Can you like throw your fist in there? Can you fist a blowhole?
I imagine you can. I'm pretty sure.
Or is it like pinky size?
I'm pretty sure it's somewhere between like 7 to 9 inches.
Have you ever seen a whale explode?
Yeah.
Damn, that shit's crazy.
Yeah,
that's weird how that happens.
I've seen pictures of, not video, 'cause it sucks. Maybe someone like went out and warned but I've seen pictures of people wandering towards a beached whale, and it's like,
fuck no, dude.
I mean, now that if you know better, I mean, to all the people who don't, like, when a whale dies, all the fucking gases in its body needs to come out.
They blow.
And the pressure builds because of how much fat they are. They're just sealed. So it's like a biological soda can that's been left in the wrong... Like, you know how you put a soda can in the freezer?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And you didn't open it or anything and just... That's the equivalency for a whale, except it just goes...
Real PSA, if you see a beached whale, call the authorities. Immediately, you call the authorities, because that shit... That's not cool. That shit that'll fuck you up. That'll fuck you up if you go and like. So, and it's not just it'll explode and you're like, oh, ew. There's force to it. It's like a grenade.
It's an explosion.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen the video, but there was this one guy who was like
with some weird harpoon thing,
and then just. And I was like, oh.
The closest example, I guess, to the force of it is like an 18-wheeler tire exploding.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude.
If you overfield it.
Yo, fuck whales.
Like being next to a car tire when it pops, that's fucked up. That you'll get really, really fucking injured from that.
All right, so
and a whale would be a lot more than that.
Death by whale or burning alive? Okay, first out, I just want to add the smelliest shit you'll ever smell in your life. Let's just point out the obvious. If it was death by whale, you ain't smelling good scents.
No. I don't know if it's the smelliest, though. I'm pretty sure there is something that's like a lot smellier.
Well, I mean, I'm just exaggerating, but that's definitely like whale carcass.
It's not going to be good.
Whale carcass is not perfume, dude.
Although, isn't some perfume made from whale? I know a lot of soap and a lot of gum is. So
that's crazy, dude. How do we make perfume? Just like, who thought of that, too? She's like, yo, I'm gonna go.
We almost brought I think sperm whales and a lot of other whales near extinction because back in the fucking like Moby Dick era times, those I forget what specific timeline that is.
I think it's like 1800s.
Somewhere along that, right?
Early 1800s.
Back then, the lantern, right? That everyone used, the fucking candle of everyone's equivalency of an iPhone flashlight today. Like how every person who wanted light walking around at night, they had a certain lantern. And before lanterns got more and more advanced throughout the time, you needed a specific oil to light it. Why? I don't know. It sounds dumb.
Weird. Interesting. I don't know.
But it was whale oil.
It was whale oil. Yeah. I do remember hearing that.
So basically, we were fucking hunting whales through extinction just because we were like, man, the moon isn't out. I can't see.
It always dark as fuck. We got to kill some whales, dog. How do you even like? How does
Look
one
at that big old fucking thing right there. It's gonna make us some light. Watch, I'll show you.
How do you kill something and then realize
this
is the only way for us to do something?
Trial and error. That's the only thing I could think of. Like just the fact that we have all of this here today. Like, you know, if you were just if this was like an RPG video game like Ark, you just spawn and you're like, okay, I need to learn how to make screws and hammers, and you yourself would never get there. No human would. Only because someone made an idea and then was like, hey, man, see this? Do this and tell everyone else, pass it on. And then he dies. And then that goes on. And then someone's like, hey, I know how to do this better than this guy. Just do it like this and then pass it. And like, only because of that, we've gotten this far.
That's so crazy.
Like, there's no way, like...
Do you think... Okay, hold on. How about this? Do you ever think that computers were around before the 1900s?
Well, there's this... It's like a mechanical gear looking thing that they found in the ocean. And it's considered the first computer. You can look at it. This is around ancient Greek times.
Really?
The first computer, by definition, what it can do, it is technically, I guess, considered a computer. It of course, it doesn't have like fucking graphics card and like
no, yeah.
But like its mechanical property of computation, it can do a certain cycle, and it was basically like an astronomical clock.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was astrological or either. Like, I don't know if it was like a spiritual thing that they used or whatnot. It was for Greece, so it's most likely astronomy. So mostly just scientific related. Because it was for like, I think predicting eclipses or something like that. If you looked it up, it looked like a bunch of cogs that they found out of the ocean. Like, it's full of like barnacles or some shit. But it's like, I guess, considered a computer. And it's super, super old.
Dude, what if Socrates had a computer? What if you went back in time and you're like, here's Microsoft Excel? He
would be like, what do I do with this?
He would shit his pants. He would shit his pants.
Yeah, but like, what is he going to plug that into?
Exactly. He's only got a limited amount
of
time.
The
and then it died. Well, but see, like, I feel like if you gave that to him, he could pop it open. He would pop that shit open. He wouldn't even use it. He'd pop it open.
I think him being a philosopher, a man of, what is it called? Conceptual thought.
Okay, yeah.
I'm pretty sure if you presented that to him, he would be disapproved of it. He would probably not like that.
Really? You think so?
He would say this is going to stunt you as a person. You're going to be, and he's going to have some form of truth about it. He's going to be like, do you, oh, so these people, oh, this thing has everyone's, you can call everyone. First off, he wouldn't, I don't know if he would even make this point exactly, but it would be like, if you lived in the 90s or earlier, you either had someone's phone number written down or you just legit just do, and you just did it yourself. Mm-hmm. Like nowadays, you just say, hey, call this person, and it just does it for you. Like, you don't remember people's phone numbers anymore. You don't remember 7-digit numbers anymore.
No.
That's like almost an abstract concept. Like there's a lot of people I think like are kids these days even learning handwriting? I know cursive is damn near.
They are.
I know cursive is damn near abolished at this point. Like I think there's only like 2 or 3 schools in the United States that are still doing cursive.
Well, California is much different. I know some people that live on the other side in more like Republican states, and they still do cursive and shit like that. I read a cool post though that they were like, "Fuck cursive, let's teach everyone sign language," and I was like, "Why not, dude? That'd be way better. That'd be cool. Way more useful.
Just another form of communication."
Yeah, dude.
Fuck it.
Cursive is so stupid though. I don't get it. Isn't it funny how there's not like cursive in another language?
I imagine cursive probably was. I don't know. You'd have to look it up, but I imagine because back then that's how everyone wrote, and I think it's because they used the little ink and shit. If you did, you'd have spotty.
You'd get dry pretty quick.
Well, not only that, but like when you grab something and you put it down, it's like already a circle because it's pooling.
Yeah.
Because you got to get going, right?
Yeah.
And it's cursive, so it's just all in one stroke. So it's not like so you're probably wasting more ink, and it looks more blotchy. Like if you try to do print, it's every little first stroke is gonna have a little circle.
You have multiple strokes in just one character, like a T.
Yeah.
Lift.
I'm trying to think. R probably has like that's still 2. I don't think you do more than 2 on any letter unless you're doing capital letters. No, even like an E is like 1.
I've never
2.
thought about this. What kind of A?
Q is 2.
Lift.
I think you only do 2 strokes for every letter. Z is still just 1 stroke.
Numbers too? I mean, single numbers, not obviously a million is gonna have a lot.
I think numbers are all 1.
No,
except for 10.
Because 5. The correct way to do 5, and I've taught this before because I've had to teach
with
this,
a little line?
You have to do down, around, lift, top it off.
No, I go this.
Yeah, you do
down,
the top.
Down.
So that's not how you're supposed to do it. That's not what's taught in school. It's weird.
Is there a way to write A? You have to go like this.
So because I used to teach this a lot.
Can you imagine someone drawing Z instead of from top to bottom, they go from bottom to top?
So the correct way to do everything is from top to bottom. Everything.
Well, then a 5, yeah. Top.
No, you start at the top already because you're going down and around. When you do a 0, 1, 2,
you're
3.
losing me. Okay, when you're 5, the top is that line, then you're going down.
You're right. The line on the top of the 5 is the start. Or no, it's not the start, but that is the top. But you do still start at the top when you're doing that line down. Line down, and then you top
Are you
it
saying
off.
because you're going from right to left, that's a no-no?
Yeah.
You're doing that Eastern writing style.
But see, like when you do an E, you do top it off, and then you do the middle. It's weird. I see.
I'm being frankly honest. I was never taught in. No. I take that back.
You probably
I'm
were.
taking that back. I'm like unlocking memories, but all it was just trace the line, trace the perforated line.
Yeah.
There was no like. Well, I guess there was arrows starting off.
There were arrows.
It's like as I'm saying this, these are like memories that are just slowly coming back.
See, I used to work in a classroom, and that's what we used to teach kids. And I remember 5.
I know
I
how
used
my
to
mom
do it
is.
that
She
way.
has like my baby book. I had to be like, "Hey, mom, you need to bring this out."
I
I
gotta
gotta settle something.
I gotta check my cursive
for
and
once,
numbers.
for once, her obsessive collectiveness is here to settle a petty argument.
No, I remember working in the classroom, and I was talking to a teacher that I worked for, and she was telling me the correct way to write a 5. And I always asked, I was like, why do you do that? And she just goes, that's just how we do it. And that's the only character that I've ever, while writing, my whole, like all throughout high school and college. And then when I learned how to do that, that's the only thing I've ever done in my writing that has ever changed, which is doing the 5 with that. And now if you were to throw down on paper and be like, write down a 5, like, and I had to do it as quickly as possible,
Going back to
top
cursive,
it off last.
Going back to cursive, when me and Angie were living at the apartment complex like several years back.
Who's Angie? Just don't
Angie's
know.
my girlfriend.
Okay, yeah, all right, there we go.
When we were living at the apartment complex,
Mm-hmm.
I just out of nowhere I just had this thought. I was just like, how good is my cursive?
Oh man,
And I just grabbed
disappointment.
I grabbed just a random DVD off of the rack, and I just read the synopsis, and I just like decided to just write that and see how long it took me. And it took me like, fuck, bro, it took me like 7 to 10 minutes.
It takes you
I
longer.
was starting to get like, I just wanted to see, and now I'm just like, I'm just trying to follow through, but I want to give up at this point. I'm like, that sounds so fucking petty. I can't write a paragraph in cursive. It took a lot longer than I thought.
If you don't write in cursive regularly, then it's very
because you're
hard to write.
constantly your brain's constantly flashing each letter and translating it to the
Yeah, it's just weird that we don't like read in cursive. We only write really in cursive. Like nobody. I mean, like obviously we do read, but like books aren't printed in cursive.
It's when you're reading dated stuff, like actual text,
dated stuff.
Yeah,
like anything your mom writes.
Yeah,
anything your parents
but
write.
no, I was like saying like if you're reading like the journal of someone back then, or like I guess even like the type I'm trying to think, like, even old ass books. What's that Greek book that's about like not just math? Oh, I can't think of it right now, but there's like, it's really, really old text nonetheless. It's probably written in Greek. I don't know. I've always just read it in English and just assumed it was just translated as such, because I've never heard how those old civilizations wrote their shit down. But I don't know.
I don't know. Fuck it. I don't write much anymore though.
Talk about
everything's
writing.
Typed.
Imagine trying to learn at this age right now kanji, like Japanese writing, like those characters. You know how you and I were just saying
that's like a lot of pen strokes. Lift.
Yeah,
lift,
you know how we were just
lift.
saying usually every letter is just 2 strokes. Like, well, I don't think they have. I don't think it's like it's word for word. I think there is, but I think with a sentence, it's like 2 symbols can say an entire. I'm not sure. I'm not closely.
I don't know. You know who
educated
knows,
enough to know that.
You know who knows Japanese real well? Tristan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Tristan knows. He's learning kanji, so he's been good at it too.
It's a very, very, very tedious, long, but I imagine very rewarding
really
if
is.
you're gonna be
If you're gonna be living in Japan, yeah. So, but
I can't imagine like living in America and not knowing how to read English yet. A lot of people do, because like when you go to Japan, there's still a lot of English characters all over the place.
Oh yeah.
It's not always spot on, but you being able to read English, you'd be like, oh.
That's why my brother mentioned that yesterday, because we were watching the opening ceremony to the Olympics, and he was like, "Don't they speak Japanese? Why is there English like everywhere? Like he even says like Tokyo Olympics, like on the back of their shirts." And like he looked at somebody, obviously Japanese, and works for that system, and like he walked up to go do something, and you saw the word staff written on him, and I was like, I don't know, because everybody speaks English.
I know that they have it in their schools as a second language, and
I think that's big language,
and that's something that everyone, like, I think everyone in Japan learns a second language, and it's basically English.
Everyone everywhere learns a second language, and it's English.
Yeah, yeah. It sucks.
And Americans are so dumb. Most of them only speak one,
It sucks
and it's English.
Where like I heard there's one school that in Woodland Beamer that actually teaches Spanish in elementary.
Yeah, they do.
I didn't know that.
I used to work. I used to work at that school.
Man,
Prairie
didn't do that for me.
There's a few.
You were at Mac.
Prairie does that now too. But what they
Really?
do is they'll teach the whole class in Spanish, and then they'll teach you English as a second language.
Oh.
And they do that up until I think first or second grade, and then you start doing English. And they usually do that for Spanish-speaking households because there really isn't a lot of reinforcement of English when they go home, like at all. And it's an optional thing too to start on. But
I wish it was something that was more like accessible earlier on, because like during high school, like. Sure, you can learn. I mean, you could learn a language at any point, but from what I remember correctly, language is dictated in a very specific part of your brain. I forgot which lobe it is or whatnot, but there is a part of your brain that's dedicated to speaking. I don't know if writing is part of that, because that may involve your eyes or whatnot, but all of that is specifically part of a certain part of your brain. And I guess when you're a child, it's abnormally bigger from, and like the way how your brain, how like the human brain develops until it's 25 years old. That's when that's when the software has finally fully installed itself. Like, sure, you could play it, it's just a beta.
yeah.
But once you get to 25 years, you finally have, like, you could say you're fully developed.
That's crazy.
But during that time, your brain's going through a different influx. But when you're that young, so much is dedicated to that language part. You can learn to be bilingual, trilingual even. Like, when you hear a kid that's like, oh, he could hear 7 different languages, and like, damn, that's impressive. It's still impressive, don't get me wrong. But it is to their advancement because they are younger. Their brain can absorb it. Now, if you heard some 30-year-old out of nowhere is starting to learn 7 different languages, that's some Rain Man shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's someone who's like
intense.
Just all of a sudden just sucking in information.
That must be so fucking difficult though to learn.
Still, if you can do that as a kid, that's still pretty fucking impressive. But that, you have that on your side nonetheless.
Yeah. That's like one of the only rare things that's more impressive as an adult than it is as a kid.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, if you could hear a kid do like 5 pull-ups, it's like, well, it would depend on the body structure, I guess. But like,
yeah, you're only lifting 12 pounds off the ground, so.
But like, yeah, if it is someone that's like, at the same time you see a 7-year-old and a 40-year-old both like going to the same speech classes, I'd still be like, wow, for both of them. But I look at that older dude and just think in my head like
damn. You really got to work hard.
That dude went out for it.
This kid just comes here. You actually have to do your homework and study.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the kid would have to do the studying too, but I guess it's just.
They just dude, I don't get it too, because I feel like I was such a dumbass child. I feel like when I was a kid, I just like nothing stuck in my brain,
I'm trying to think like yeah, it's not like I had a particular interest. Well, I guess I've always had an interest for astronomy, and that was one thing that I like, but that wasn't anything I could do like critical thinking on. That was just something you just learn,
plug and chug,
observe, yeah.
Point.
Yeah. With the language, you got to like learn over 100,000 different, individual
words and characters and
sequences that they are played off by.
Oh, yeah, conjugating. I don't even know what conjugating a verb is.
Okay, so I can kind of explain it here briefly. It's basically, if you're saying that you're doing something, instead of you, in English, we'd say like, hey, I'm going out somewhere. Or, hey, we're going out somewhere. Or, hey, they're going out somewhere.
Uh-huh.
You're using, I guess, 2 or 3 words to say that. In a language that has conjugates, the word itself, going out there, it like has a conjunction at the end that changes that. So like vamos, like let's go.
Oh, okay.
Vámonos. If you're using it in those different types of, like
like correr and correres and like
turning it to he, she.
Got it,
from
yeah.
the base word.
Okay.
The way how you're influxing that word, that's the conjugate. That's how you're changing it. So it's like for the same sentence, you're taking out words on some, and there, like, I guess there was an interesting concept. Like someone was like saying, like, for someone who's not learning English, right? Let's just say this person, he has broken English. You have to talk to him like, bathroom? There. You know what I mean? Not like, oh, where do you need to go? Like that's already, too much or whatever.
Yeah.
Imagine explaining to that person, right? Who he can understand English, but you can't throw that much to him.
I work with those people.
Okay.
Yeah, I work as a custodian, so I work with a lot of foreigners.
Well, I mean, I don't know, because like if they've been around for a while and heard it for some time, it takes time. This isn't a
no, they don't.
Is,
sometimes I'm talking to some of these guys, and they're like,
no. So like I'm saying is like, imagine explaining to a foreigner the word fuck.
That's a tough one.
Just like right off the bat, a tough one too, and it took me some time. I don't know if I could just pull it up right out of my ass right now, but I did like one time in the shower or on the shit, like thought.
Damn, jeez, this podcast took a turn.
I was really thinking. That's what I was in a hard, deep thought.
That's what, because you're in think mode when you're taking a shit, when
yeah, if you
just
forgot
sitting
your
there.
phone or you just choose not to use your phone.
Dude, that's hard.
That's
hard.
That's some modern Socrates shit.
That's some modern Socrates shit, dude.
I one time actually thought to myself, because I thought of a statement without actually using the word to describe the word the. Like right now, I don't know if I could think about it at the moment, but I was like, a word to link the subject to its predicate, something like that.
This is all going above my head. I don't know. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit, dog.
But anyways,
I speak English well, and I speak English
good.
Gooder than a lot of people, so I just feel like that's it. I don't need to know.
I speak English
predicate.
I speak English gooder than some people. I don't know if I'd say most, but if I put in the effort, that's the weird thing. Like it's funny knowing that it's your primary language and you have not achieved the peak of it.
Yeah.
To think, there's someone out there who can definitely out-talk you. And I don't mean like win you in an argument, but just get a statement across. Like if both of you have the same thing that you're trying to say and you say it and they're like, what? And then this person just says, he's meaning to say, and they're like, oh, and you're like, fuck, how come I couldn't say it like that or whatever?
I think, I don't know. Language is so weird.
See, you don't know.
Language
Like maybe there's someone out there
crazy.
who knows how to say what you're trying to say.
Maybe. Do you think in English? Are you
No.
Are you constantly like?
So I was just listening about something earlier. So yes, to answer your question, I do think in English. I think in my voice, like I think in narration of my voice.
Okay.
But have you heard of? I think it's called. You'd have to look it up. But there is a condition, right? Where someone does not have the ability to manifest things with their inner eye. In other words, they lack an imagination. They probably can think of things, situations, but there's no imagery.
That's weird. Imagine being deaf and like thinking deaf because you don't hear words. So what kind of language do you invent?
Well, I mean, I imagine a deaf person does think in thought, but yeah, like
Maybe their imagination is far better because they think in images rather than language.
Well, I also think in images too. It's with me it's both. Like, do you only think one way or another? Like, do you think like in a movie standpoint, like you could see and hear?
So there's two realms of thought. One is when I'm actively thinking and I'm speaking in English in my head, and the other one is just go with the flow. Sometimes when when I'm working and I'm doing stuff, I'm not even thinking.
You're on autopilot.
I'm just going. And I'm not even thinking of words, and like that is the time.
Well,
that's when time passes by so quickly.
Like, are you just
like mouth open, like just fucking doing?
Not even like, man, I should do this or gotta or whatever.
No,
or just, this is dirty. I gotta clean this.
No, like in the zone. Like I'm talking like you don't even think, like you see and you instinctively like, because like
only on a few occasions have I like completely tuned out that well. I've tuned out like that before, but I mean like I'm usually engaged in something. Even if I'm like doing homework, my brain will just like, I guess this is probably the definition of ADD or something. But with me, I guess if I'm like in deep thought, like again, I forgot my phone, I'm on the shitter. Or like maybe I'm on a drive, and there's times I'm in a mood where I won't want to listen to the radio or something. I'll just turn it off and just watching the cars go by. There's times where I'll think of some deep things, and there's no imagery. It's just the concept like, I don't know what it would be. I can't think of it right now.
I can't even explain.
But most of the time, I'm thinking with a narrative thought. Like, I hear my own voice, which doesn't sound like this over the phone. You know why your voice to yourself sounds different than listening to it in third person?
Why?
It's because there's a specific bone in your ear. It's meant to deafen your own voice. Because think of it, your own speaker and receiver is so close to each other. And I guess without that bone, it would just be like, instead of if this was a natural thing, if you didn't have that bone, it would probably be like this when you talk because it's just like right there.
Interesting. I've never heard of that.
That's why your voice sounds slightly different. Like I could recognize it, but
not with like the direct feed, but like you're talking like just.
If you took the headphones and the mic off and you just walked outside and you just started talking and you're just like was just self-conscious of your own voice. Mm-hmm. And why that sounds different than listening to it, being played back. That's because of that bone that's deafening it for you. The more you know.
The more you know. God damn it, guy. Way to go. Way to go. Education. This is why I got you on this podcast.
That's a shame.
Because we need to educate the world of our agenda.
I even forgot why we even sidetracked on that. I remember we were first. The whole start of this whole conversation was showing a computer to Socrates, and I was saying how he would be disapproved of it.
Fuck Socrates. If he's gonna talk shit about computers, fuck him. You know? Fuck.
Someone made an interesting thought of Socrates. They're saying like being someone who's always in thought like that, they're like saying like he was someone that's like, what is a human? It's like, oh, it's who we are. Oh, who are we? We're people. What is people? I don't know, bro. I'm covered in shit. I'm trying to work shoveling these farm animals or whatever. Bro, I know Greece has a little bit more adapt, but like back in the day, it's not like people wanted to like. I mean, a few people did. But I imagine to a lot of people back then that dude, he got killed for it. I mean, they poisoned him because he was corrupting.
Killed him.
He was Alex Jonesing too hard.
He was just Alex Jonesing too hard, dude. And back then there wasn't like podcasting or anything like that. It's just like you're sitting in a room and you're like, hey, come in. I'm just gonna say shit.
Cancel culture isn't new.
It's not, dude. It really isn't. It's survived even like through the dark ages. You couldn't say. You can't say.
Dude, now that I think this is the first time I really thought about it. Like, people were like, "Oh, cancel culture now these days." Like, no, cancel culture has always existed.
It's always been a thing. It's just that
it's just now infecting your life right now. So now it's a thing to you.
I just because like, dude, the
Think of Salem. That was cancel culture.
just killing witches, bro. Okay, so I heard this one thing where like the reason why the Salem witch trials were so crazy was because people were starting to read, and reading was a lot more accessible at that time, and the most popular books.
They thought they were incanting spells or reading shit like
Well,
that.
like, you know, the most popular books weren't books on how to build things or narratives or like, you know, Lord of the Rings or anything like that. It was like how to hunt witches. It was this like false information shit. And so I feel like that's going on right now currently with like, you know, people like, you know, it doesn't take that much for some person to be like, you know, this is why the world is like this and you shouldn't vote like this. And they make these little, you know, you can make like there's Instagram accounts where the you know, there's just graphic design of like a vague human body saying this is why you shouldn't vote this way, and like people read it, and because it's so officialized, because it's a graphic design, people just read it and just eat that shit. And they're like, oh, like, and that's what happened back then during the Salem witch trials. Like, you know, I read this one thing where people are comparing, you know, being called a racist is the same as being called a witch. I mean, you know, obviously we're not killing racists or anything like that, like out in the street.
I imagine racism back then, I mean, obviously existed, but I don't think like you're saying, you know, calling someone a racist now these days is, you know, to some is fighting words, to others is, you know, some hard, you know, it's definitely an instigating
Whatever
statement.
if you call a person a racist back in the day, and they're like,
yeah, like
yeah.
I don't think back then at that time it was an instigating statement.
No.
Like, but anyways, I was saying
well, the word sorry to sidetrack real quick. The word liberal wasn't used as a term, like an offensive term, like, you know, liberals. That only started like within the past 50 years or something like that. Like it was never used, like it was just, I am a liberal.
Yeah.
You know, and so language just changes throughout history constantly.
Imagine if you yourself went back to the Salem witch trials.
Fuck, I couldn't survive.
You would be put down
I'd
as
be
a
a
witch
warlock.
because they would be like, what fucking... You would just say, hey, how's it going? They would be like, what? Tis art thou... Like, I don't even know... Like...
Tis art thou dead.
the way how they talk, like, they say that they use... you know, some English words or whatnot, but
yeah.
I've vaguely remember seeing some type of print of some type of document back then of like, you know, old English times, and I was reading it and I was like, I know what these words are, but not in this sequence. It makes no fucking, like, I'm completely lost in what this means. Yet this is like, you know, like, that's a noun. I know what that noun is, but I don't know what they're trying to say. Like, so like just going back then, you know, just think all those people were killing, you know, people and all that, and they didn't know that they were gonna go down. They were gonna go down in history as the fools.
That's just the dumbest fucking people. That's what I'm so scared of. Is like, I don't want to
be known as a
what
group
if
of fools.
What if, because like, you know, going into politics and like conservatism and liberalism, and I know like liberalism is like the biggest type of, it's like the biggest prescribed thought in the country right now. Like, what if it's wrong as fuck? Like, what if people are like, dude, you guys are way too overzealous. You don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Well, like, who knows what's going to happen in the future? Because back then, like, there was democracy in Greece and all that. And at the same time, like, do you think there comes to a point, I don't have an actual, like, opinion towards it, but, like, do you think there comes to a point where a civilization gets so big or so small where the dynamic of its governance needs to change? Like, if it's a tribe, you know, it's like a council.
Yeah.
If it's like a city, I guess it's still kind of a council, but on more of a grandier scale.
Yeah.
if it's like a county, I guess there's like
It's the same thing. It's just bigger and
it's
bigger
just getting
and bigger and bigger.
I guess. But when it's like a tribe, do you see
But
people
see-
voting? I want to veto you,
But there's-
sir, in this forest. Like,
The bigger you get, though, there's the bureaucratic system though too
there's
of
a
people
lot more
that
knots in
like
the lines.
like the one thing that I read was politicians, the only thing they do is vote on laws and write laws.
Like, let's
they
say-
don't enforce this shit. It's up to the bureaucracy of that civilization to carry out those laws.
Can you imagine our way of governance would be the same if we start going to the space? Like, let's say we finally make a settlement in
Dude,
Mars.
This is why
Do you think at some point there's going to be a confrontation?
most definitely. There is so
So
it's
do you
like, okay,
think- do you think we
imagine
as
this.
people. Yeah. So like,
imagine
I'm
this
totally-
going somewhere and then living it through a generation, and then the new generation's like, dude,
I don't know who
what?
the fuck those people
Who
are.
the fuck are
them.
you, dude? That's what happened.
So like, do you think Elon Musk, as he's working away, farming, convincing people to farm certain Bitcoin and shit like that, manipulating his market so he can get his company going, because his ultimate goal, everything that man's supposed to be doing, I guess,
He wants to
is
die
get
on
us-
Mars.
He wants to get us to Mars. Do you think he's even thinking?
America. He's not thinking America.
No. Do you think he's even thinking like, maybe we should think of how we should develop some type of political,
No, it's not going to happen.
So that's the problem about
Once there's-
human progression.
Once there's enough resource on that planet, Mars is going to be like, fuck you. We're Martians,
So-
bitch.
Like it. Not saying like, oh, he should or something. Me sitting in this room like I have any authority. But I just think like this is one thing that we as humans really just like. It's the future's problem. But
I don't think we'll ever live through that. I don't think we'll ever see like a revolutionary war
no,
that will separate Mars from Earth
But
politically.
but it's it's a thought that like I have thought of before. If we start advancing to the point we start leaving a level 0 on the Kitterman scale. What is it called?
Kardashev scale?
The Kardashev scale.
Yeah.
If we finally graduate level 0 and go to level 1, are we just like I think the way how we're running shit, I think it's fine how it is. We'll just keep it as it is.
Well, because when you advance the Kardashev scale, the whole system kind of changes.
Has to flux with it,
because you have to.
otherwise you won't go to the next step.
Because what's the point of like going to another planet
Ooh,
while one planet is harvesting
this
energy
makes
from the
this
sun?
makes an interesting would you agree, in order for us to advance to such a level of civilization where we're creating a Dyson sphere and our sun is
I think that's level 2.
right, so I mean just to get to that level, right? Would you say that we would have to have a form of co-op that has never existed before?
Yeah, and there has to be a significant amount more.
How would that be either enforced or convinced or taught? You know what I mean? Like the way how we live right now, there's no way we can advance to that state because we have so much inner conflict.
It's going to operate through a market system.
Like is there going to be a North American chunk of the Dyson sphere? Like, oh, we've invested this much into this celestial object, so we're going to get this much. If we made a Dyson sphere, right? It is unlimited energy.
Yeah.
At that point.
I have absolutely no idea.
But we're capitalistic at nature. I'm not saying capitalism would be completely abolished at that point, but I mean like if we don't need to create an entire Dyson sphere per se, but let's just say made a good solid wall that's by the sun that is enough to transmit that energy. Mm-hmm. Would we as people be like, okay, we do have all this energy, let's give it evenly all for free, or are they gonna be like,
no,
we're gonna need a little something, something in return.
You're gonna have to pay us for it. It's gonna be it's definitely gonna be like a.
So would you say that that's us advancing in a way of unification enough to keep going in that scale, or are you saying that
I think we are.
That is the concept that will stop us.
I think we are quite possibly a million years away from Dyson sphere.
Are you saying that it's possible?
It's definitely possible, but there needs to, dude. The sun is
now.
What
are you saying that we're going to do it? Do you have faith?
It's not guaranteed, but that's the next step.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, do you have faith that we will achieve that, or do you think we as people are too fucking messed up?
I think that
with each other, because it gets to be to a point where I'm not saying world peace needs to be achieved.
My belief is it's inevitable if the species survives that long.
So the only way I could see the entire world being like arm in arm, right, is if we got advanced enough to the point where at the same time we learned a fucking asteroid's coming right at us, and the world is like, we need to pull as much resource from everyone as possible, or we'll blow up.
That's the only. Sadly, right now, I don't think we can do that. I don't think. Not right now. I don't think the United States can go to China and Russia and be like, listen, we got to work together.
The fate of
it's
the
gonna
world.
get politicized like crazy.
Even if we were like, dude, this is a 5 kilometer. I'm using the metric system because it's the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not everyone in the world knows the U.S. system.
Yeah.
Or what is it called? The standard?
Imperial.
The imperial standard.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, a 5 kilometer, which is like what the KT extinction was.
Mm-hmm.
If that even just like, here's the Earth, and it just went like,
it would. And the way that it would look.
Guess how big that
sky.
explosion was in real time.
What?
It was like 40 minutes long. An explosion. You know how explosions just because of how big this was, and it has to go
40 minutes, bro.
40 minutes. There's this awesome video on YouTube.
We're on almost an hour on this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So we could have done it live.
So let's just say that this thing hit exactly on the other end when we started.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, by now if it's at an hour, we would have felt it by then. But I mean, like, 40 minutes. The thing could happen, and I think we'd probably just go like, no, it's not like the Earth would move once. It's kind of like, at that point it's dirt. It's like, you know what I mean? It'll just mush. I think they were saying like the first like.
But the heat from that impact.
Anything within 5 miles was just instantly.
Just like obliterated.
Instantly,
That's so
not vaporized.
It's pasteurized.
Atomized. They were demecularized. Probably not atomized, but like
on a molecular level,
they were just separated individually.
Damn, dude, I couldn't imagine just going through. Imagine if that's what we're witnessing. What would be like? What's the next step? And not everything died. That's the thing. Not everything died.
Something figured out how to get through it.
Something was like, yo, I'm really good at digging holes. This is coming in handy right fucking now.
So they were saying, right, the initial explosion, that was 40 minutes, right? But the actual aftermath.
Oh, it was like millions of years.
No. It wasn't millions of years, but it was like, it took millions of years to recover or whatnot.
Yeah.
But after the initial blast, right, it just took out so much fucking Earth. It just made
another celestial body.
It made that happened for the moon. Yeah, that was like, dude, thank God life hasn't started then. Because there wouldn't been life then.
Well, think about it. We've only been recording. I mean, like, we only think that humans have been around for like 10,000 years. That's.
I think it's like 1.4, right?
1.4 what?
Million years humans have been around.
I thought it was like 10,000 or something.
10,000. There's 10,000 BC. The Egyptians were building pyramids. It's not like Bible age.
It's so crazy.
Think about
how
it.
big everything is.
The Sphinx, right? In Egypt.
What
was made in like 10,000 BC. Or no, not BC.
I want to ask this. How much do you think that the Egyptians knew about history back in Egyptian times?
Well, Egyptians are such a niche topic because we know more about their concept of death than their day-to-day life. Like all of their writings, all of their literature is mostly dedicated to death and the afterlife.
Why?
I think that was just the most important thing to them that they thought it was worth writing, I guess. Like, I don't think there's like a manual or a literal script, like a scripture on how to do something in hieroglyphs or something like that. I think all of them are designated to just big ass buildings saying, this grand man died. He's going to this now. Like, I think that's it.
I
could be wrong.
If you ever heard of like the stories of like, you know, when like a king would die, they would be put into this room in the pyramid and locked up, and in there would be everybody who worked for him.
Yeah.
Alive
to serve them in the afterlife.
And it's just like, dude, what was it? There was this movie or something like that. It was an old movie. And this lady like wanted her king to die or something like that so that she can go on and inherit everything. But then once that person died, she found out that she had to be stuck in there with them. And so she wanted this person dead. And when she got what she wanted, she had to be there. And they sealed it up. And it's complete fucking darkness. So I can only imagine like 2 days in, everybody's like, like, dude, you imagine just being like, all right,
I think in
this
that
is it.
situation, I think your death is...
You're starving. You starve to death. Or maybe it's because of like the lack of oxygen.
Yeah, because I was like thinking like, how well sealed is it? Do you think they would get carbon monoxide poisoning? Or is there a draft somewhere in there? Like, I heard the pyramids are built extremely advanced for their time. Like, those bricks are laid on pretty... Like, yeah, on the outside it's like burp, 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 but the hallways are fucking... The hallways are like really, really, really laser leveler down a hallway, and it would be fucking true to the way all the way through. Like,
That's so crazy.
I don't know how well sealed that is.
I wonder how Egyptian rednecks were. You have to have Egyptian rednecks.
I imagine
there's rednecks in every culture, and we never talk about this, and I think we need to talk about it. There's somebody in Egyptian times that was like,
I think redneck.
Yeah, I could do that.
I think redneck, right, is like the white European, is the Anglo-Saxon, like
Anglo-Saxon.
Is Anglo-Saxon? No. I'd say it's strictly American, because like, you can actually think of like peasants that were like, oh, the Imperials or whatever, like they have like their own thought. Like, think of Monty Python, like that one argument that the one peasant was having with King Arthur. It sounds like that's going over your head.
Yeah, that's going over my head.
But
I'm not a Monty Python dude.
Oh, but I mean, like there's like different, forms of like people who have their own like backwood. I think backwoods is more appropriate term.
Backwoods,
probably.
Okay, yeah.
But then again, it's like who's in the back of the woods in Egypt? So I guess that is not right either.
Back sand.
Just,
I bet you they call them like sandy feet.
I don't know what would be the most universal, but I think backwood, because redneck is definitely linked to white people in America. Like, I don't think you can call some European dude a redneck.
But the sentiment is there.
Like, even if they were a ginger in Ireland and you called them a redneck, they'd be like, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean?
But like, there's always just a group of people in any type of civilization where they're just the I don't even know how to say it. Rednecks, dude.
The backwood.
The ones that just fucking dig and fucking make fences and lay bricks on shit. And
blue collar.
There you go.
That's, I guess. But I don't know. I know some people who are blue collar people who aren't rednecks. Like redneck also is part of a culture. Like.
Well, I don't mean it as in like, well, darn tootin' dude, like I'm talking straight up, like someone.
I mean, that's what it is in America.
Like someone who's like, fuck, I can't lift this shit. Oh, here, let's throw down some of these logs and just roll it across. And like, you know, someone who just like is good at MacGyvering like some fucking setup so that they can do shit better. There's something like that in every culture. You see it in a lot of Hispanic culture too.
Yeah.
There's hella Mexican rednecks.
Yeah,
and you could tell the difference between a regular Mexican and a redneck Mexican.
Like a paisa.
Just someone who just knows how to just fucking smooth out cement just really good. There's just always someone out there.
I think also like it is also determined by like the time and the general, like, I don't know, like, because also if we're talking like Egyptian, first off, now that we're going back to the Egyptian thing, because like we're saying blue collar and all that, there's a very, very like distinct line of being like a worker and then being a slave. Do you believe that the pyramids and all that was constructed by slaves or contracted workers?
It was contracted workers.
Okay.
And I didn't know that until like the past year. Like I've always thought that they were
they were slaves.
And I don't know why we thought that. Why is it common knowledge?
Why were these slaves so fucking good at their job?
Yeah, I know. That's But I mean, there's no way that you can build the pyramids off of slave labor. Like now thinking about
maybe the heavy duty stuff, like getting the limestone there.
Yeah.
It's not like you need to be like really smart. Maybe you just need to be smart to make up the idea. But then again, like we were saying earlier, hey, I got this idea, pass it along. Except with them, they're like, pass it along.
Even slaves in the United States, they were only cultivating. They were never, ever, ever building houses. At least as far as I know.
Like the limestone. It's not like you're doing art or anything. You're just moving heavy thing from point A to point. Like people wondered, how the fuck did they get those big? If slave labor did exist for Egyptian times, it was definitely probably applied there. Like not building it, not assembling it, because of course you're gonna want someone who knows what they're doing, who spent their life actually.
Maybe that's where the slave labor came in.
I would imagine if there was any slave labor, it'd be there because that's a mundane task that like
anyone could do.
Yeah, get that over there.
That's like the equivalent of like McDonald's workers.
It's just transportation or whatever. Yeah, like truck driver. Then again, that's a blue collar thing, like that could possibly go extinct if auto cars. Like I think that is going to be the first. That's the first like.
Oh yeah, Pepsi.
They took our jobs.
Pepsi bought, what was it? Already purchased like 1,000 autonomous semi trucks from Tesla.
Really?
Tesla has have you seen the Tesla semi truck?
I think
it can go 0 to 60 in 11 seconds.
Jesus. For what point? I guess just to get this stuff
for
going.
A semi with a full load for a semi truck.
Jesus,
that is incredible.
We need this all out now.
Is just, dude. And I saw it go. There's a video online of it just going, and it's just like, fuck. That is incredibly fast. That is incredibly fast for a semi truck to go to 60 miles per hour that quickly. Like holy shit, and it can brake well too.
That's even tougher to see that. Have you seen the Bose? Bose, like the speakers, right?
Yeah.
They made. I'm not sure if they made brakes. I think they did, but I've also seen them make suspensions. Like
Bose?
Yeah, and if you look, I swear to God, this thing's going
like
over.
Yamaha. Like Yamaha just makes random shit.
Yeah, Bose.
Like they make pianos, but they also make like. Fucking
didn't they also make motors, like motorbikes or whatever?
They made like calculators or some shit. Yeah.
Husqvarna, the chainsaw manufacturer that I sell at my work, they started off making guns, and then they started making sewing machines, lawnmowers,
It's so weird. Why do companies
bikes,
do that shit?
and then now they're with chainsaws and like, you know, that type of
or
arbor
Bosch.
stuff.
Bosch makes appliances, but they also make car
what
parts.
makes a company go, you know what?
Let's
not make this anymore.
Well, it's not that they don't make it because they still make appliances.
Well,
but
Husqvarna
they,
doesn't make guns anymore.
oh,
Like Husqvarna went through a very long evolution.
well, because like Nintendo used to just make
Cards, right?
like playing cards, and now like they don't make any cards. Pokemon's made by somebody else.
Really?
Yeah, and it's owned. The company of Pokemon isn't owned by Nintendo. They just have an exclusive contract to have their games specifically on Nintendo.
I've always assumed that they were owned, but I guess
No, it's owned by Game Freak. Or I think I could be wrong, but
No. Yeah, when you say that, when you turn on the Game Boy and you play,
well, I mean,
specifically
like
remember
I think the
Freak.
Game Freak logo or something like that is on the Pokemon cards as well.
Oh, really?
Or like on the fine print on the bottom, it's like Game Freak / the year the card was
I'll have to
printed.
check that out.
Yeah, no, it's dude, fucking business.
It's
just
all
fucking business,
It's
bro.
just business.
It's business.
It's nothing personal.
It's nothing, dude.
But
that's,
fuck you.
And that's how going to Mars is. I think we're gonna go into a direction where like, cause like Tesla, or it's not Tesla. Who's going to space? Elon Musk's company. It's not Tesla. SpaceX. I think SpaceX.
When Tesla drives out into space,
SpaceX is not gonna have Marstopia. It's going to be SpaceX. It's going to, like, I think the direction for the future is going to be, we're going to be a complete market system. There's going to be no real political system. It's going to be all ran by, like, company.
so you think it's going to be a corporate conglomerate?
I think corporations are going to rise above. Corporations are the new religion.
I mean, a lot of
corporations
people,
are the new religion. I mean, think about how big these buildings are. I mean, the Chrysler Building is much bigger than any church you've ever heard of.
It's a hot topic to say that, you know, people believe that corporations have a bigger say than politics themselves nowadays.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I think people can unanimously agree that money talks. Money makes things happen. Yeah. Money is probably the reason why, more than half of the reason why, you know, half of all this is here. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's, you know,
all of
driven motivation and inspiration, but the reason why they got it out to the point where it's mass produced and we all have it is because of money. But
it's a fucking huge thing. Money is fucking such a crazy concept.
And so, like, there's people who think that, you know, corporations really are actually having the ultimate say in things rather than politics, or they're just like, you know, the big advisor to the king,
money,
so to speak.
Money is the blood that runs through the veins of society.
Yeah,
it's the blood. And we are the organs. We are the organs because we're the ones that find money to be the most useful to us. You can't drop a stack of, you know, hundreds and be like, all right, it's fixed. Look at that. You know, you can't be like, all right.
Some would argue. Some would just say, you just didn't do enough.
You need a second stack of hundreds. There you go. Now it's fixed.
I mean, I'm trying to think of, like, name a situation that money can't fix. I was trying to think of one.
I don't know, because they say that money can't buy happiness, but I mean,
sure can rent it.
It could point you in the right direction, dude. Like if I had all the money in the world and I was depressed, bro, I'm going on vacation.
I mean, money. Okay, like
money absolves you.
If we're being technical, right? If like an alien came down and they're like, "What is money?" Like, I would say it is access to it's you know, access to more in society.
Access and mobility.
Like, well, mobility is
because even transportation, like you can't.
There's ass grass or no pass or rule or whatever,
Yeah.
but like money
Ass
gets
grass
you,
or gas.
Yeah, I guess. But, like, money is the universal access to
do things.
to things, you know, pretty much.
And you can't.
The more money you have, the more access to things you have.
And you need. I forgot what I was gonna say. You just need money.
You just need money.
You just need money. Well, because like you can't.
Unless
like,
you're
we
just
can't,
like, you know what? I'm just gonna learn how to live. Like,
we can't go somewhere without money somehow, unless we're walking. This is the only thing. Even then, you need shoes. You need shoes and socks.
Back to the Mars people, right? Mm-hmm. Like how we were saying, they're gonna run more on a, you know, technical like level and all that whatnot. Do you think those people would need to like up on those survival skills, or is it completely different survival skill? Like,
I think it's gonna be.
Do you think like we're saying money and all that, but like we clearly know that there are people out there who are living way off grid,
fucking off the grid? Yeah,
you know, like there's the Sentinelese,
but
like they do not need money.
Okay,
like,
yeah, but think about it. What else are they doing?
See, but that's to you though. To them, it's probably all what they need. It's not like, you know, now if we're okay, money buys like I guess I'm going backwards on my own thought. With money, if you live in America, it definitely buys you happiness. Like I guess unless you're the fucking person who made Minecraft. I guess after he inherited his billions, he got sad.
You don't think that if you picked up somebody from the Sentinelese Island?
Well, first off, if you did that, you're to kill him. You're just gonna give him a disease. That's why. Just
say you put him in an astro.
PSA. This is why we do not want to really interact with them. Not because they want to throw spears at us or whatever. It's not really that.
No, you'll kill them.
It's we're the danger.
Yeah, we're the danger.
It's not because we'll give them guns or show them the evil of man or teach them money. We're gonna just teach them what viruses and diseases have happened in the last tens of thousands of years. Dude, their body missed out.
They have absolutely no vaccines.
You can do this. Hey, hi, how are you? Oh, I'm good. How are you? And then he's gonna go to bed, and he's not gonna wake up.
Because that's what happened to Mesoamerica.
Well, that's why they're so afraid of outsiders. Is because they actually did accept an outsider at one point, and he wiped out half of their fucking village.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know how, like, if one of those people were to be like, I want to go into society. Mm-hmm. I don't know how they can do it.
Do you think those Sentinelese people, do you think they're racist?
No. Because that's them thinking that they're superior. And I don't even think they're thinking that. I think they're just like, kill it! It's coming again! This thing my fucking grandfather told me. He fucking killed so many people. Kill that thing.
That's the story's true. The story's fucking true. Get him.
That's what it is probably to them. I don't think they're like those fucking whiteys.
Those whitey McWhitersons.
Because I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure they can see a boat and it could be with people just as dark as them, and they'd still be like, oh my God!
I wonder
they're just look like us.
I wonder if you dropped like a dark skinned person who looked like them, just like give them the fucking piercings and the tattoos and little.
They don't have that. They're that primitive that they don't have.
They have
tattoos.
Piercings. They have piercings.
They have piercings, but they do not have tattoos.
I don't know about tattoos, but if you made someone look like them and you were like, hey,
they can't make fire.
They can't?
No, if fire, what happens is if fire is made, if fire does happen, they know how to protect it and keep it alive. That's it. So fire happen on occasions, and when it does, they preserve it as best they can. Mm. So I guess lightning has struck on that island.
Of course it has, yeah.
And it ignited something, and they were like, whoa, and whatever. But no one has ever figured out, if I get a flat soft wood, put it on the ground, they don't make a circle and then a little keyhole shape, and then get a stick and make friction so it collects ember in that little slot.
Yeah.
And then I move that they don't have that concept. They just see fire. Oh, keep it alive. That's
How much do you think they fuck? You think they fuck a lot?
That's a good question.
What's the age of what's the age of consent over there? I wonder. Like,
I imagine with any tribe that isn't part of a
they're probably
society or whatever. I think it's as early as when the woman shows that she is viable for children. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
You think so?
I don't like.
I think it could happen before then, because if you really think
it could.
like, this person looks like they would be fertile at the age of 7.
I'm pretty sure humans have been around long enough everywhere to pass down. I think humans just about everywhere understand. Oh, a woman. You know, I mean, sure, there's like some gross people out there that has like, you know, an instinct to go for younger people, but like, I'm not sure if everyone has the knowledge of like, oh, once she's menstruating, that's time. Mm-hmm. I think that's what most humans, I mean, like, I wouldn't say instinctively, but we've been around long enough to every generation should be able to have passed that down to where every tribe or settlement, you know, not every individual, right? But at least every tribe,
the concept,
every group of person, there's at least someone who's like, oh, this person's ready. Yeah. The elder in this tribe sees a woman bleed and, oh, you are ready. You know what I mean? It's not like everyone else would be like, oh, what's wrong? She cursed or whatever. And then the elder's like, no, she's ready to bear children. Or you know what I mean? Like, I think everyone has a designated person to at least identify that.
And you know what I noticed too? Whenever you look at pictures of the Sentinelese people, I don't know if this is wrong to say, all of them are fucking ugly. All of them are just so fucking gross. I couldn't imagine fucking any of them. I could, even men or women, dude. All of them are fucking disgusting.
What may
and watch someone get really offended that I say that.
I mean, there is someone already.
How dare you?
They're probably gonna say you're racist or something for it, but
I don't even. They're Sentinelese. I don't even know their fucking race.
Well, I mean, they're some form of African. I know they're off by India.
They're by India though. So
where's India? Where's India? In what continent is India?
India is its own continent.
It is a subcontinent. It's not.
How many continents?
How many continents are there?
There's supposed to be 7, right?
And name them.
Australia, Asia, India, Europe, Africa, North and South America.
And Antarctica.
Oh,
so there's 8 continents?
There's 8? Okay, maybe India is not.
India is a subcontinent. It's not a continent.
My computer fell asleep. Let me see. How many continents are there?
I got 2 more. Is there 7 continents? I did my grade school geology.
I don't know. Isn't Greenland one? No?
That's part of North America.
So why is Antarctica
and not North America?
No, and
I mean not North
Arctica.
Pole.
There's Antarctica and then there's Arctica.
No, it's just the Arctic Circle. I don't think it's called Arctica. That sounds like a let's travel to the land of Arctica.
And then Antarctica.
I think it's just the Arctic Circle. I think it's because there's land there, but I don't think it's its own terrestrial. You know what I mean? They're tectonic plates, I think, that they base it off of.
Well, because there's a lot of tectonic plates. There's like 13 or 16 of them. And some of them are like small.
But I think what that means is that maybe Greenland probably is on one of those dividing plates that outlines the continents. Maybe Greenland is in North America. Well, maybe I don't know. That's when I just checked out.
Of my ass.
I just checked out.
There's really, dude.
But I can assure you, India is not a continent.
What if we took a Sentinelese person and we shot their ass to Mars?
I was about to say any answer. I mean, any scenario that you have that involves a Sentinelese is going to be them dying from a disease.
Why do I want to kill them?
You would have if you really want a Sentinelese person to experience the world. You remember Bubble Boy Jake Gyllenhaal's debut movie.
Yeah.
That's what you imagine a movie that was Bubble Boy, except it's a man who's never seen the outside world.
Doesn't even know what plastic is. So he's like, oh my God, that dude, imagine how
traumatic.
Stressful.
Traumatic.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Stressful is a lightly saying.
God, imagine being sent. Sometimes I wish I was Sentinelese.
I don't know why you have such a particular interest. Maybe more softer, maybe North American. Although at that point, I'm also going to war with some other people, so like that's pretty tough too. I mean, maybe an Amazon person. Like the reason, okay, to go back onto why you possibly think Sentinelese people are so unattractive is because of the fact that they are probably inbred at this point. Think of how many people live on that island.
Yeah.
And for how long have they had to just cross-pollinate
to survive? I wonder what's the population.
They don't know. It's a window. They say it's anywhere between 50 to 300. They just don't know because it's not like we can go in there. It's not like we can do GPS and look through the trees. Like
one of these days, someone's going to fuck it up.
We've had multiple times. That Christian guy, he already went in there. And
why would you even do that, dude? I just don't get it. And of course it had to be for religious reasons. It's like, I'm going to teach them Christ. Shut the fuck up. You're so fucking stupid.
What's funny is there is his diary that we were able to recover. Not his body, but his diary.
Uh-huh.
And it even said because, he actually had, it wasn't just the one interaction. Hi. It wasn't that. He actually tried. You know what? Because people, I think it's universally known with that, group of people, you don't just pull up.
No.
You don't just swoop. You know what I mean?
Every country,
if you were to try, you'd make yourself known from a distance and be like, hi, hi. You know what I mean? You're trying to let them know that you're coming over or whatnot. And, we're all over this. And he was trying to do that himself, right? And in his diary, he said, because even on his second interaction with him, right? Or with them, he had a clear warning, a clear fuck off or else. He was holding his Bible because, he was just doing what preachers do.
Yeah.
He was really in the zone, in the spiritual moment. And he was trying to talk to him or whatnot. And I guess a Sentinelese boy, not a grown man, these people have been using bows and arrows for millennia.
Yeah.
So they're probably pretty good at it at this point.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. Because I don't know if it was a trick shot. I don't know if he was trying to kill him.
But they shot that shit?
They shot his Bible.
Really?
Yeah, they shot his Bible. And he even wrote it in, saying, and he was even saying, he even admitted that he's scared, but he feels that he has to go on or whatever. Almost as if he doesn't want to do it. How you get up and you're you don't want to go to work, but you're I gotta do it.
I gotta go to work, yeah.
You're just fuck, I gotta.
God, fuck, dude. God, why you gotta let me do this?
And then you just do this. And then you do it,
I wonder if he's in.
That's what he was describing.
I wonder if he's dead now. Well, I mean, he is.
He is dead now.
But I wonder if he went to God and God was like, "Dude, you didn't have to do that. You really didn't have to."
I'm giving you an A for effort, but I'm sorry to tell you, you're all wrong about it.
Yeah, damn, dude. And how are you gonna teach a group of people
you don't even speak that language?
You don't even speak that language.
What's crazy is that has happened before, though.
Yeah, I guess.
It has happened before. Christianity or Catholicism.
But it hasn't happened with one single person. It needs a group of people to show you. I think we were talking about this the other day. You need a group of people to show you how much resource you have that would better their life so that they would accept you.
The ways how we did actually link up with the Sentinelese was, as I said, hi, getting closer. Hello, friendly.
Friend.
Friend. How we try to establish that with them. Once we got close enough to where they can obviously kill us right now, but we're actually really close. I'm surprised. What they did at that point is start offering them coconuts. So anytime an expedition was ever made, obviously this does not happen anymore or currently or what, you know what I mean? Like the last time outsiders wanted to check on them, other than that, you know, that dude who killed himself, was when, remember the tsunami that hit during that hit during Boxing Day, after that big earthquake that happened, and a huge tsunami killed like 200,000 people.
200,000 people.
I'm underscoring. It's probably somewhere around 400,000 people died.
Where?
Off the coast of Africa, India, and all
Okay.
that. I think that happened 2004 or something like that, if I'm not mistaken, or something. Anyways, that tsunami killed hundreds of thousands of people.
Okay.
In the six of digits.
Uh-huh.
And like more than 100, more than 2 probably. But anyways, that, you know, huge tsunami that fucking wrecked mainlanders, right?
Yeah.
So the government of India is like, oh fuck, these people are probably extinct at this point. Let's see what's, you know.
Yeah.
They flew a helicopter out, and these people just pop out of the woods, start shooting arrows at them again, just like, there's more. We've already dealt with fucking nature, and now.
Yeah.
So like they still somehow survived through it and all that. Like that's crazy. I don't know how they did that.
Dude.
Maybe where the earthquake was, the wave was like probably building, and it only just like but then it got bigger as it kept passing by.
I'm so interested and curious in this society
Of just going back.
I just want to show up naked. I wonder if they'd like.
They'd shoot you.
I'm naked,
They'd
bro.
just shoot.
There's nothing. I got nothing on me.
They'd shoot you on sight, especially with how white and lengthy you are.
I know.
I think they themselves
scared of me.
I think they themselves aren't tall people. Like we
No,
as
because
humans,
they're probably
I think-
malnutrition because they just eat coconuts.
I don't know if they're malnourished or not, because I mean they're still there.
Yeah.
They're still alive.
But-
They got fish and coconuts and
Probably some pig.
I don't know if pigs are there. How would pig? Are you saying their ancestors brought them? They've been there for so long.
No clue. They got to catch birds.
Maybe
They got to have birds.
how
They have poultry.
maybe a snare, because they don't have slingshots or well, I mean they have bows and arrows. Probably got the
They probably do have slingshots or little. What are those little?
a sling. That's called a sling.
You think they have that? Do you think?
Nah, because what do you need to make a sling? Leather.
Some sort of string.
With what?
You can wrap that. You can grab that off of like some sort of palm tree if there's palm trees.
Okay,
there.
so you got palm string, you got your string. What's your cradle? What you're gonna put the rock on more string?
I'm talking like.
What are you gonna use to? You know what I mean? What's
No,
the
I'm
what's
talking
the-
2 pieces of rock tied together with string, and you just let that
That's
shit
called
go.
bolos or
Oh,
bolas.
okay.
Bolas.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, you could still use like a leaf. There's plenty of resource out there to
A leaf?
just hit.
What kind of leaf?
Just
you
whack
have-
someone
What kind of
behind.
strong ass leaf is gonna hold a rock through centrifugal force? You know what I
I
mean?
don't know, dude. I think it's possible.
Maybe for like 2 or 3 tries, and then that
think
thing
it's
dries out.
Yeah, but with how many trees are there?
Yeah, but I don't think a leaf would. If you look back, like look at David and Goliath, the most famous part, the most referenced person with a sling, he used it with leather.
Yeah, I guess.
Like they would need the hide of an animal, and I don't think they have. I don't know. I imagine they're the only mammals on that thing.
It's fucking weird, dude. It's fucking weird. Well, we're out of time.
Out of time.
Yeah, I know. This is the longest podcast I've ever done too.
Really?
So, way to go! Congratulations! Thank you for being
Hold
on
the
the
record.
show,
Thank you.
dude. You better come back every single
I
week. So, this is it. This is the new setup. This is how it's going to be ran. Got some few more exciting ideas that we're not going to talk about right now, but
No.
this is just the start.
Well,
Even though it's episode
dirty
27.
after hours are gonna be when the mics turn off.
I was pretty shocked that we've gone through this whole podcast without calling each other names.
Yeah, it was just,
I'm very proud of ourselves.
we kept it pretty cordial.
We're pretty, usually we frag each other like fucking crazy.
Yeah,
Just fucking beating the shit out of each other.
I guess it's just
Because we have two modes. We have like dumb fuck and intellectual.
I think it's because the subjects at hand. Like, it's not like any of us said anything that made us go.
we didn't disappoint each other in conversation.
Everything
but
was
it happens.
engaging.
Yeah, it does happen though. So maybe next time we'll focus on just being
Maybe
stupid.
someone will slip up and say something fucking dumb.
And then we just
we'll have
get
to call
them.
each other out.
Yeah. Well, thanks for listening, guys, to the 27th episode of the Xris Beltran podcast. Yeah.
Oh, it feels good to have that taken off.